I love a big, super impactful home project just as much as the next guy. In fact, maybe even a little bit more. But today I want to talk to you about some of the teeny tiny little hacks you can do around your home to make a big difference without spending a ton of energy, time, or money. Not every project needs to be a full renovation. Sure, it's fun to rip out cabinets and get an entire bathroom renovation, but that's not always practical and it's not always necessary. Sometimes the things that make the biggest difference in your day-to-day are the little bitty projects. A fresh coat of paint can work wonders. I've added some small things to my home that have made a bigger difference than some of the big things. So today I'm going to show you 5 of my favorite ways to make a big impact without a lot of effort. Let's do it. The first thing we're going to talk about is the smallest and most affordable, but I'd argue also one of the most impactful. I'm right next to it. Can you see it? It's outlet covers, y'all. I use these paintable outlet covers all over my home. They only cost a couple of dollars and they are perfect if you have a more saturated wall color where the outlet might be sticking out like a sore thumb. Details matter, y'all, and this makes a big difference. Another really impactful thing you can do along similar lines is to replace your light switch covers. I've done this a couple of different places in my home and it really always makes me smile and kind of makes me wish that I had done it everywhere. Just swapping out those plain old builder grade white ones for something gold and pretty makes a huge difference. Here's an example of the outlet and light switch in our powder room that I swapped out for gold too. Next up, let's chat organization. This might not be something that has a lot to do with the design or the beauty in your home, but it has a lot to do with the functionality. And in turn, that's gonna make you feel a lot better about your house overall. When I talk about organizing, I always really like to encourage people to think as small as possible. You don't have to organize your entire kitchen. Organize one drawer or one cabinet and see how big of a difference it makes. Then once that's done, you can do one more and then one more. And then eventually you'll have an entirely organized kitchen, but you don't have to tackle it all at once. Let me show you a couple of my favorite super simple DIY organization systems in this kitchen. This scrapwood silverware drawer organizer was one of the first organization projects I ever tackled in this house, and I still love it so much. It just took a few minutes to throw together with some glue, and it's so helpful. Similarly, I used some scrap plywood to make these little risers for the spices in my spice drawer. It keeps them so organized, and this was one of the simplest projects I've ever tackled. A little more complex, but even more satisfying, is this pull-out drawer I have for my pots and pans. Adding some organization to your kitchen cabinets and kitchen drawers makes a huge difference. It's an easy project and it's gonna make your life so much easier. Another favorite tiny detail to swap out in your home is the doorknobs. This is actually one of those things that I have wanted to do even more of in my house, but so far I've only managed to swap out 2 doorknobs. But let me tell you, they're my 2 favorite doors in the entire house. I specifically wanted a glass back doorknob to mimic the crystal doorknob that my grandmother had growing up, and I also installed a similar one in our powder room, and they make me so happy. While we're talking about swapping out some of the boring builder grade fixtures in your home, consider the light fixtures. This is something that I think a lot of people ignore. If you have perfectly good light fixtures in your home that might be boring, but they're not terribly ugly, this makes a huge difference. Before we installed this bubble chandelier in our dining room, this was just a can light. There was nothing hanging down. There was no visual excitement happening in our dining room, and just swapping out this light made a world of difference. I think that swapping out light fixtures is a really underestimated way to make a huge difference in your home, and it does not have to be expensive. Sure, you can spend thousands of dollars on a really, really beautiful chandelier, but I have found really gorgeous options for my home that are under $100, and it just takes a few minutes to swap it out. Let me show you a few of my favorite light fixtures that we have swapped out in my home. Here's a closer look at our dining room chandelier, one of my favorites in the house, and then I also swapped out our island pendants for something really big and impactful. This used to be a big, ugly ceiling fan, and it looks so much better. And even swapping out the lights in your bathroom or even just your hallways can make a really huge impact. I promised 5 super simple ways to make a big difference in your home, and this last one might feel like a bit of a cop-out, but I promise you it's because it matters, and that's paint. Listen, if you have known me for any length of time, then you will know that I am obsessed with the power that paint can have to make a huge difference in your home. Sure, paint is not nearly as cheap as it used to be, but you can get a really, really high quality gallon of paint for 50, 60 bucks, and that can change an entire room. It's a little more labor intensive than some of the other things that I've shared today, but put on a good audiobook and I promise you it's really zen. It's something you can do yourself in an afternoon or a weekend for a really big project, and you can transform your whole home with just some paint, y'all. Please don't underestimate this. I'm gonna show you a couple of instances in my home where paint has changed everything. My entire kitchen used to be white and it was not my favorite look. So I added some shiplap to my kitchen island and painted the whole thing a dark gray, and it changed everything. Things are so much cozier in here now. Another place paint changed everything is my back patio. I painted the concrete this beautiful faux tile and it's my favorite look ever. And of course, the power of paint on a regular room should never be underestimated. A fresh coat of a really beautiful color can truly change the feel of an entire room and give it so much personality. And those are 5 of my favorites. Super simple ways to make a huge difference in your home without a lot of time, energy, money, or effort. I hope this has inspired you to maybe try something new in your home, something you haven't thought of before, or maybe just get in there and play around with it. You don't have to spend a dime to make a huge difference in your home. You can rearrange some furniture. You can restyle some shelves with things you already have in your house. Just remember that making change in your home can be slow and incremental and small, and it still matters. Thanks for watching this video. If you like it, be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. If you have any ideas of what you'd love to see me cover next, just leave a comment below and we can dig in. I'll see you next time.